Europe's premier rock show a little bit later on tonight. We are going to be on location at the Pantera European Tour, coming to you from Stuttgart in Germany and bringing you all the action. That means interviews and live performances with all three bands on the bill, Downset The Almighty and Pantera. Plus we got new videos from Bruce Dickinson and Dream Theater. So if you want to get far beyond driven, make sure you join me there. That's the Headbangers Ball from the Pantera European Tour, and it's coming up next. 3:30 Central European Time, and you've joined me, Vanessa Warwick, for another edition of the show that crams maximum metal into every single minute. And with 2.5 hours of music to come, that is an awful lot of metal. Now we are going to be out on location once again, as you can see behind me, and we've come to Stuttgart in Germany to bring you all the action from Pantera's European Tour. 3 great bands on the bill, and I'm going to be talking to all of them as well as bringing you videos and live performances. So watch out for Downset from California, The Almighty from the UK, and of course Texan rockers, the Cowboys from Hell themselves, Pantera. Plus we got new videos from Dream Theater and Bruce Dickinson. So if you want to get far beyond driven, you have come to the right place. From Stuttgart in Germany on the Pantera European Tour, this is Headbangers Ball. That was Cowboys from Hell from Pantera, setting the scene for this Pantera Tour special. We are coming to you from Stuttgart in Germany, bringing you all the action from this, surely the most important metal tour of '94, along with the upcoming Slayer dates. Now we're going to be meeting up with all 3 bands on the bill. It's a pulverizing lineup, and first up we're starting with the opening band Downset, who you may have seen on Biohazard's European Tour. Hi there, welcome back to Headbangers Ball. We're coming to you from Stuttgart in Germany on the Pantera European Tour. And for the remainder of tonight's show, we're going to be hooking up with the tour headliners, because it's time to get far beyond driven with Pantera. And I'm joined by Vinny and Rex. Nice to see you guys. Welcome back to Headbangers Ball. How are you doing?
Great. Good to be here. Yeah.
Now, before you actually came to Europe, you'd done like something like 90 shows in America, I think I'm right in saying. Now you've got this extensive European tour. That's a very strenuous touring schedule. I'm wondering how you're coping with the pressures of just being on the road for such a long period.
Well, you know, we're not new to this. We've been doing this for a while. We've been on tour for basically 4 years without much of a break except recording the new records. So, you know, we know how to deal with it, and it's definitely getting a little strenuous, you know, but we don't have that far to go before we get a break, and we're looking forward to that. So I think we're hanging pretty good.
Do you find that you kind of just get into a routine where you get through every day and it's like a certain pattern?
As much as we do it, it's pretty much a procedure. You go through, you have to eat at a certain time before you get up on stage and stuff, so it's pretty much routine.
I mean, how do you like psych yourself up every night? I mean, here we are in Germany, sound check going on behind us. I mean, did you have to, how can you keep those energy levels up over such a long period?
It's really doesn't seem like it's that hard when you have a couple shots of whiskey and put on some heavy tunes and start warming up backstage, and you hear the people, you know they're there to hear you, and they're cheering Pantera, Pantera. It's, you know, that's all the motivation I need. You know, that's enough. That does it right there.
So when we met up with you at Donington, you actually, I think you just played like 1 or 2 songs from the new record. Right. Now, of course, you've worked a lot more songs into the set. Tell us a little bit about how the set is shaping up now.
Actually, we've been changing it around over here. You know, basically in the States, we had a set that we kept, that we used almost exclusively all the time. And since we've been over here, we've definitely been looking for a little bit more spontaneous action. So we've changed the setup, and we're doing a little bit more stuff off of Far Beyond Driven. We're doing like 7 songs out of the 11 on there. And so, you know, we're getting down with it. We're also breaking out some old stuff that we hadn't played in a long time, stuff off of Cowboys. So it's a good dose of all 3 records for everybody.
By changing it kind of helps keep it interesting as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You know, it definitely is. It's mainly Rex's idea to start throwing some new stuff in the set, and it really, you know, little extra fire underneath us, you know.
if you play the same set over and over, like you said, we did the whole States thing. We did that when we first came over. It just adds a little bit of, you know, spontaneous action. It gets us a little bit more fired up instead of having to play the same, you know.
And it's also a challenge to play something that you hadn't played in a long time. You know, it takes, you know, sometimes when you're playing the same songs, it's almost second nature. You know, you don't even think about what you're doing. And when you're doing a new song or something you hadn't done in a while, you got to think about it a little bit more and work a little harder to make sure it happens.
Keeps you on your toes. Now that you've had a #1 album, have you found that a lot of things have changed for you in terms of the pressures that you have to deal with and the way people kind of perceive the band and look at your actions and interpret your actions? I
would think the only thing really is that the people that didn't want to pay attention to us in the first place, they got to now, because Pantera knocked their favorites, Ace of Base and Bonnie Raitt, out of the #1 slot in the United States. And you know, the only thing that's been disappointing about it in a small fashion is that a lot of people misinterpret the band. They just take one quick look at it and think we're this way or that way, and they really don't understand what we're all about, and they don't, you know, research it enough before they print their stories or do this or that or the other.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk to the guys some more very shortly, but we're going to play you lots of Pantera videos throughout this show. You've already seen quite a few earlier on, and actually what we're going to do, we have got your new single Planet Caravan coming up a little bit later on, but we're going to actually show you right now the very first video from Far Beyond Driven, and we're going to show you Pantera with I'm Broken. Well, we just saw the new video from Stiltskin. That was Footsteps, the second track taken from their debut album The Mind's Eye, which is out now, and Stiltskin are on tour, rather like Pantera, and that's where we are. Pantera European Tour coming to you from Stuttgart, bringing you all the action, and Vinny and Rex are still with me, and I was going to sort of start with a little bit of a controversial question here, maybe not, but there has been a lot of speculation and rumour in the press. I don't necessarily believe it myself, but perhaps you could set the record straight, that a rift has developed between Phil and the rest of the band, and it's kind of you three in one camp and Phil in another camp. Is that true?
It's totally untrue. You know, people, like I said earlier, they take one look at things and write something into it, you know. You know, he's from New Orleans, we're from Texas, we're all on the same team. We love Pantera. Pantera means everything to all of us. But we're also different people, you know, and everybody needs their space from each other for us to exist in this thing together, you know. And so if he wants to ride on his bus and the three of us ride on the other bus, then all of a sudden people think there's a rift. If there was a rift, trust me, we wouldn't even be playing tonight. You know, he would go home and say, see you guys later, and we go see you. You know, it's not that way. Everybody's real happy, everybody's doing a very good job, and, you know, we're all in this thing together.
And like we've been saying, there are certain pressures, and you have to find what works for you as a band, don't you? And if that does mean Phil's a little bit distanced from the others and doing his own thing, then that's important, isn't it?
Right. Of course, yeah.
It's you know, it's like being married to, you know, 4 people instead of just one. You know, most people can't get along with one person, much less 2 or 3, you know, and I mean, we got to get away from each other too, trust me. You know, all 4 of us, when we go home, we scatter. You know, we don't see each other, you know, because we live together. We're on the road and we play all the time, and we got to go through everything together, and there's nothing we wouldn't do for each other. But then again, when it's a chance to get away from each other, let's go get some fresh air, you know.
But I think maybe some of that originated from the fact that I read in early press just before the album came out that Phil had a slightly different idea of what the album should be musically compared to the other 3 of you. Is that true?
He just did an interview. We had like 2 months of downtime, and he did an interview right before, and we had no idea. We just went in the studio and basically got a vibe and recorded it and made it as raw as possible. But that interview was done like way before we had any ideas for the record going on at all. So it wasn't anything. It was just kind of a malicious statement by the press, and it was, you know.
And if you listen to the record, it's extremely heavy, and Daryl's playing guitar on it, I'm playing drums on it, he's playing bass on it, and we all wrote the songs together. So if there's any differences in opinion, it all turned out pretty damn good in the end, if you ask me, you know.
Well, absolutely, and millions of people out there agree because they went and bought the album. So that really says it all, doesn't it? Another thing Phil said in a recent interview is that he feels that Pantera doesn't get any respect. I'm just wondering what he meant by that, because obviously you have the respect of fans, which is the most important thing, isn't it?
That is absolutely the most important thing. Pantera fans are #1. I think what he means by respect is that A lot of people within the industry still think of Pantera as that quote-unquote little heavy metal band from Texas, and you know, I think we've gone on to prove all them very wrong, but still a lot of them, you know, don't have a lot of respect for what we do, you know, and that's okay. We don't care, you know. It's not important.
We're doing fine. We're doing just fine, thank you.
Good. I mean, also, I think one thing, I think I mentioned this to you before, you're one of the few bands that aren't afraid to fly the flag for heavy metal. So many bands around at the moment claim to be alternative or whatever, and they seem almost like embarrassed to admit that they're heavy metal, whereas you guys, you stand up and you say it.
I think a lot of kids have turned on them too, the bands that have said that, you know, they don't want to be part of it, and they've lost a whole lot of people that dug the record before, you know, because they're going to jump on this alternative wagon, and we're just not one of those bands. We're a heavy metal band, flat ass, cold, you know. That's the way we are.
That's our roots. Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Judas Priest. That's heavy metal, the original heavy metal, and there's a lot of bands out there that sound just like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
They want to be alternative, so you can go jam with the Lemonheads, bro, all you want. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Good. Well, I'm of the same opinion of you, that heavy metal will never die. It might go out of fashion now and then, but us true metal people, we'll stick together and we'll be around for years to come. Well, we're going to talk to Pantera some more, and as I said, Planet Caravan on the way. We have to have a little short break now, which is quite timely, because it's getting a bit noisy in the background. So we'll go into that break and stand by for the new video from Dream Theater. That's coming up. And yeah, label mates of Pantera. And taking us into that break, we're going to give you a little taste of Pantera live here at the Congresscentrum in Stuttgart. See you after the break as the Headbangers Ball Pantera Tour Special continues.
What do you?
You've made it to the final part of Headbangers Ball, and we just got back from the new video from Dream Theater, label mates to Pantera, and that was Lie, the first video from their new album Awake, which is out in the shops as we speak. And that excellent video, as I'm sure you'll agree, was shot on location in New York. So first showing there for Dream Theater, Lie. We're still talking to Vinny and Rex from Pantera, and it has to be said that Vinny is the interview king of Pantera because he's done nearly all the interviews and press on this European tour. And Vinny, you're talking a little bit about how Pantera had been a little bit misunderstood by the press. What's the most common misconception that people have about the band? Well, like the silliest questions that people have asked you?
I think you asked me this earlier. I really don't want to go into any big details on this. It's just, you know, they, like I said, they take one look at us and just make assumptions, or they'll go off of a humorous statement that one of us will make and turn it into be a big deal, you know, and it's not, you know, and that's the only way people truly get to know any of us, are reading magazines and seeing TV interviews and this kind of stuff. And unfortunately for us, most of them are magazine interviews. We're not popular TV heroes or anything like that. So
well, you are with me.
Great. But you know, that's the main thing. You know, just like I said, I don't want to go into details. There's so many different ways I could point a finger at something.
But does that not, when you're doing interviews, does that not make you really conscious of everything you're saying and how people can interpret it?
That's why Vinny does all the interviews.
Vinny's got it down to a T.
It's not so much that. It's just, you know, everybody's had it to hear with people, you know, nitpicking and trying to turn something into something. And I know the ins and outs of the band very well, and the other three guys have a lot of faith in me. And, you know, I can pretty much handle what anybody wants to throw my direction.
Good, good. Well, I hope I'm not asking any ridiculous questions tonight. Now, actually, at Donington, you told us that Planet Caravan wasn't actually going to be released as a single, and I'm just wondering, why did you change that? Was it in view of the tribute album that's coming out and so on?
No, we actually did the song for the tribute album, and due to record company politics, we weren't able to be a part of that, which is a big bummer. But anyways, it's on our record, so that makes it even that much better. So it took off in the States, man. It just started being played on a lot of radio stations, and we weren't going to do a video or anything for it, and it just took off. And, you know, Dime is the video king. He does pretty much all the video work, and we always wanted to do a video that we didn't have to be a part of, you know. And that song is a very, you know, imagery style song. So we let Dime take the ball, and he went in with the people from Miramar Films and made a pretty incredible video. Something, you know, whether you like heavy metal or not, it's great to look at, you know, and it's a very enlightening experience or so.
It really is a fantastic video, and in fact it's actually been played on various different shows on MTV. We have a show called The Chill Out Zone on a Friday night, and it's sort of crossed over into a lot of different areas. It is a great video. We're going to show it to you right now, actually, from Far Beyond Driven. This is the current single from Pantera, going hand in hand with their European tour, and it is of course a cover of Black Sabbath's Planet Caravan, done Pantera style. Here we go. Well, Vinny and Rex are going to have to go and do some sound checking very shortly. We have a few more moments to talk to them as we wind up this coverage of the Pantera European tour. And a little earlier there you saw the video for Planet Caravan, which is every band's dream, as you said, because you didn't actually really have to do any hard work for it. But it came out really, really well, and it's gone down very well on the show. With regards to the B-sides for Planet Caravan, I understand that you recorded some live tracks for that. Can you tell us a little bit?
They recorded a show in Brixton Academy in London, and Vinny and Daryl went and remixed 2 or 3 songs, was it?
4, actually.
4 songs. Yeah. See, that's how much I know. Anyway, it came out real well. It's going to be killer. Yeah. Totally. It comes
out this week, and it's a pretty damn good live recording, man. We were real happy with it, and it's only for a UK release. So if you get it anywhere else in Europe, you're getting import. So it's kind of a special thing.
And I heard that you, when you went to mix the tracks, that you went for maximum heaviosity. I don't know exactly what you did to achieve that, but I mean...
It's easy. Pushed everything in the red and distorted it all.
Turned it up to 11.
That's right. Actually, we're recording all these shows over here in Europe. We're, you know, tossing around the idea of doing a live album in the middle of next year.
Really?
And the recordings are going great, and, you know, that's that much more reason for you people to raise hell and get louder so we can use it.
Well, that's very interesting, actually, because a live recording is always something you have to find the right timing for it in your career, don't you? And I guess, you know, these shows have been going so well, and you've had such a good response that maybe it will be like a bridge to the next album.
Right. You know, we haven't decided if that's the right time to do the live album, like you said, but we're recording the shows just in case.
Brilliant. Excellent. So make lots of noise on the Pantera tour, and you might end up on vinyl or CD or something next year. So just to wind this up, really, you've got another few weeks of Europe. What happens for Pantera after that? Is it just like more road work?
Oh yeah. We go till close to Halloween over here in Europe, and then we go to Australia for the month of November. It'll be our first headline tour over there. And then the middle of January, we're going to take off for Christmas. Thank God, it'll be the first time we've had a Christmas off in about 5 years. We're going to take COC out with us in the States, and we're going to tear it up. We're going to do a lot of secondaries, places that we haven't played there yet, for about 5 weeks. And then we got South America, the Pacific Rim, and then we're going to take 6 months off and get some fresh air and some good new ideas and start working on the next record.
I mean, that's a very strenuous tour schedule. I mean, what is it that keeps you going through these long months of being on the road? I mean, that's like as far as you can see.
Just the shows, just playing the shows, and the kids that are coming out to them. That's basically what it is. The 22 hours that we're off you know, we're waiting to get on that stage because that makes the day everything, you know. So that's what it's all about.
We played in like Vienna last night, and we had people from Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and they were all there. And it was just a great feeling to know that they drove that far to come see us, you know. I mean, that's motivation right there, you know.
Definitely. Well, thanks very much to Vinny and Rex for joining me. It's nice to speak to you both. And, you know, just as the guys said, Pantera, loads more touring. Will you come back to Europe again, do you think, on this album?
I don't know about it. I don't know about this album.
Not on this album.
You better come see us, you know, but we'll definitely be back. And you guys have been good to us. Headbangers Ball here has been good to us, and we appreciate everything.
Great. Well, thank you for the interview and also for bringing such a great bill over. Downset, great guys, The Almighty, good band. Yeah. So it's a very, very good bill.
Very good, very good. You get your money's worth.
Good, you do. All right, then, that was the latest news on Pantera. Many thanks to Vinny and Rex for joining me. And, of course, there's some dates left to go on the tour, so you can still catch the guys. And over this final live performance from Pantera, you'll be seeing the remaining tour dates where you can come and check them out far beyond driven. So that just about concludes tonight's edition of Headbangers Ball. I hope you've enjoyed all the action from the Pantera tour. Many thanks to the guys for having us out on the road with them here in Stuttgart, Germany. I am going to see you next week. I'll be back in the studio with another action-packed show, and of course you'll see these guys on tour. So from all of us here in Stuttgart on the Pantera tour, we'll say very good night. See you next week. You'll see these guys on tour. Bye-bye.